G'day viewers, how you doing? This is the news. It's time for the Train Sim World Roadmap for November 2025. Now, before we get into this roadmap, I felt it was underwhelming. It's a little bit light on the new, and it's a little bit light on the when. But let's get into it. There is one thing that we actually do get a release date for. So the graphic will look quite familiar to the previous months because it's exactly the same with the exception of adding the BNSF GP60M and the GP60B from High Iron Simulations, and there are some screenshots of that coming up. So we'll whip down through the TLDR because who cares? And as always, I read these articles to you to improve the accessibility of the information to those who can't or will not go and read it for themselves. I might even just skip over this stuff, because it's not new. The first thing that's important is the free starter pack. So don't miss out on the free starter pack. It goes away on the 11th of November. Now, I don't care if you don't think Train Sim World 6 is not for you. That's perfectly okay. But what I recommend that you do is grab it, pop it in your library. No need to download it or anything like that. It won't change anything to do with whatever existing version you choose to run because you think that one's the best and what you think is correct for you, naturally. But what it will mean is that if a route or a vehicle comes up in the future and you want it, you'll have to buy Train Sim World 6 just so you can have that route or vehicle. Wouldn't it be better to have this in your library so that you can just move ahead with whatever DLC you wanted? Yes, it would. Just nod your head and go sagely, yes, I'll get that done before November 11th. But you know what? Just go and do it right now. Pause this video and go and do it. Because if you just procrastinate, you'll miss out. All right then. There's a new Dovetail support website. I'll pop a link into the chat. It's kind of pretty. It's actually the same one as before with support.dovetailgames.com, but it goes elsewhere now, and it has a lot more information on it. It's a lot more, what's the best way to put it? Friendly, I guess. It's got a decent UX to it, a user experience. All right, let's look at stuff that's coming up. So there's a bit more information on Stuttgart-Heilbronn, and that one's coming from Dovetail. Stuttgart-Heilbronn, to me, was actually kind of funny because the route leaked, and all the Germans went, hey, wow, Stuttgart, that's what's coming for Train Sim World 6, and they pissed off when it wasn't what they got. Don't always listen to leaks. But anyway, welcome back to another update for Frankenbahn Stuttgart-Heilbronn, a new southwest German route coming from our teams set in the 2000s era, featuring the new DB-BR 140 and the new Wittenberger Stauerwagen cab car. For today's update, we'll be focusing more on the included stock that you'll be able to drive, as well as details on the new features that you can expect. The new DB-BR 140 included with the route will offer yet more classic locomotive traction in Train Sim World with features such as a single release brake. This can offer some challenging gameplay, managing the application and release, the latter of which can be triggered when the lever is placed one step down. The BR 140 will support a standard set of toggleable train faults. When I say it's a one release brake, I don't think that's really any different to your traditional Westinghouse system, because you only get one release on that. You can't partially release it. So I'm guessing that's what they mean. And there is the 140. In its remarkably clean look, the undercarriage has been slightly weathered. You can see some grease on the buffers, which is nice to see, but the locomotive is far too clean. Let's see the inside of the cab here. Again, not a lot of wear and tear. It's far too clean. I'm just hoping this isn't. It just hasn't had the weathering done to it yet, is what I'm hoping. We'll see, though. We'll find out, won't we? They never look like that. The Wittenberger cab car adds equally classic passenger stock with multiple control systems compatible with different types of locomotive. The development team are currently working on implementing these controls with different locomotives in-game, including the BR218 diesel locomotive. We will confirm which locomotives will be able to function with this cab car closer to release. Like the BR140, toggleable train faults will be implemented for the cab car, as will passenger announcements throughout the coaches. And we can see here the Stower wagon or cab car. Again, similarly, the undercarriage is nicely weathered. The train is far too clean. It needs bugs and things on it. It really does. In addition to the new DB BR140 and Wittenberger cab car, the add-on will include the DB BR111 and wagon coaches and the DB BR363. I always think it's funny with the way I pronounce 111. If it pisses you off, so what? This variant of the BR111 and N-Wagon coaches will be updated to feature the following toggleable train faults: wiper failures, pantograph failures, circuit breaker failures, handbrake failures, stock passenger doors, passenger lighting failures. What about passenger failures? We get plenty of them too. Some minor bug fixes and improvements will also be made to this BR111 N-Wagon coaches and the BR363 over previous versions. Does that mean it'll replace the previous versions? Probably not. They'll just be a different variant. This is what we're used to. So that's why we have 79 Class 66s. As a final note, we can confirm this route will be developed for PC and Gen 9 consoles only, available on Steam, Epic Games, PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S and X. We'll keep updating you over the next few weeks for more information as screenshots become available to showcase. Now, this is the latest one that's not doing Gen 8, and I think this will be the norm going forwards. So while Gen 8 did get to have the TSW6 upgrade, I wouldn't be expecting any new content if I were you. It's time to upgrade. Your console is 12 years old. NEC New York Stamford from Dovetail Games. We also wanted to share a small update on our US route, heading back to the Northeast Corridor with a new Metro North M8 EMU. It's great, mate. So this is the same slide that we've had before, so we won't bother. And we've just started working on it. Great. That's really important news. I'm sorry, my sarcasm is overflowing this morning. Announcing the BNSF GP60M and GP60B from High Iron Simulations. Now that we're approaching the final release of the Santa Fe pack, you can read about Santa Fe on the gameplay article. Well, we've had a few of those, so we might have a look at that anyway. It sounds like it's a new one. The High-End Simulations team are now looking ahead to announce some of their latest projects, this time introducing the distinctive Superfleet GP60M and the GP60B to Train Sim World 6. We can see the GP60M leading this consist, followed by a GP60B, which is a cabless variety, and then another GP60M, bringing up the rear. The Electromotive GP60M and cabless sister GP60B were among the most distinctive and stylish of North America's third-generation diesels, and this duo is coming to TSW6. The GP60B, a lot of you may know it as a slug. It's basically, well, that one isn't even one. It isn't even a B. It's got a cab, but it's basically, you may know it as a slug. It doesn't have any driving controls. It plugs into another locomotive and all it does is provide power. Alrighty, this is the cab of the GP60M. Looks a little bit weathered. It's not too bad actually. I can see paint wearing off things. That's appreciative. I would think the dash would be more marked than it is. I can see there's some good markings up around the top up here, but what about the wear surface where people's hands sit all the time? Built by Electromotive in 1990 to 1991 at the request of the Santa Fe Railway to power the railway's superfleet intermodal trains, 63 3,800 horsepower GP60Ms equipped with wide-nose American cabs were constructed along with 23 cabless GP60B booster units. Originally dressed in AT and SF's legendary war bonnet livery, the GP60M/B fleet joining our roster of newly formed BNSF, the Burlington Northern Santa Fe in 1996, and the majority of handsome and potent diesels remain in service today. I'm not sure if the Bs are still in service. Not sure about that. I haven't seen one on a Railfan video for a long time. Inside the unit here, that would appear to be an auxiliary brake stand. It's very exciting. I assume that's inside the B. The upcoming locomotive pack will deliver authentic and richly detailed renditions of the GP60M and GP60B in BNSF liveries. The GP60M will be included in the BNSF H2 and H4 schemes, while the GP60B will wear BNSF's H1 livery. Joining the locomotives in the pack will be an all-new model of the railroad's modern articulated spine, intermodal car with trailer and container loads, as well as an ex-Santa Fe GA Series ribbed side 3-bay covered hopper in BNSF colours. So, why did they even talk about it having war bonnet up above? As in they said, it was originally released with war bonnet. Why did they even say that? That's just going to confuse people, because it's not coming out in war bonnet. It's only coming out in BNSF schemes. I think that will cause confusion. And we always know what the fat cunt controller says about confusion. It causes delay. Anyway, sorry about my terrible stutter there. The GP60M and GP60B will be put to work in a realistic selection of mainline and local timetabled services and scenarios on the TSW Cajon Pass route, and will offer a robust selection of bonus scenarios on the San Bernardino route. It does need some traffic. Hopefully they're not just around the freight areas and it's more of the route. This is the new spine car. Spine cars are so designated because they basically have coupler, big long spine with not much else. Coupler, big long spine with not much else. Wonder how they actually get the trucks onto those. So the containers, they just lift them on, but this is a fifth wheel. So I wonder how they actually get the truck on it. Interesting. I'll have to look that up. The extraordinary Electromotive GP60M and GP60B in original Santa Fe red and silver war bonnet livery, as well as a BNSF patched edition of the war bonnet livery, will become available in a forthcoming TSW livery pack. So they're introducing it so in the future they can make you pay for it again. Yeah, that's how to do it. Get ready to climb aboard one of North America's most remarkable and notable contemporary diesels with the upcoming TSW6 GP60M and GP60B from High Iron Simulations. Santa Fe on Cajon Pass gameplay pack releasing November the 13th, 2025. We finally get a date for this. Yes, Wesley, November the 13th. Wesley, if you're wondering, is a person who's been asking me about the date on pretty much everything I published for about the last 400 years. Wesley, November the 13th. Live it up, sunshine. As mentioned above, be sure to catch the release. Anyway, here they are doing the over and under thing, as you do. It's a good screenshot to stage, I suppose. Bit arty. Experience the Californian railroading of the 1990s and let the lavish colours of ATSF repopulate the rugged Cajon Pass route during the final years of Santa Fe operations. Embark on a variety of duties with two classic examples of the AT and SF equipment, the C48W and the SD40-2 in iconic war bonnet and freight liveries. Now, we're told that High Iron have done some work on these to update the models themselves, so we'll see. Not just liveries. The pack also features an entirely new AT and SF freight cars and 3 existing TSW freight cars repainted in Santa Fe liveries. You can see the lineup here of the cars that will be coming along with the game. And they are, of course, boring, and they're all red except one, which is boring and yellow. Oh, I'm sorry, but they're just boring. All of them are. The Avanti West Coast BR Class 805 from All Aboard Studios. Following the launch of their first add-on into Train Sim World 6 with Birmingham crew, the All Aboard Studios team are back for an update on the Class 805 currently in development. Let's hear from their team about progress and a few of the details. So, written a few of these, so at least I know what they're supposed to look like inside, at least in the back bit, not so much up here. As we move closer to release, the Class 805 is now in its final stages of development, and the team is excited to be adding another key piece to the modern look of the West Coast main line. Throughout testing, the unit has brought a fresh and contemporary energy to the routes it serves. Its responsive traction, dual-mode capability, newly captured 2024 audio, and sharp Avanti styling all combine to give it a very present-day feel. It has been designed to sit naturally within the modern railway, and its arrival completes an important part of the West Coast Main Line picture. Well, hardly West Coast Main Line South, because the northern parts of West Coast Main Line are set in the distant past. Here's here another screenshot. Interesting that the feature train is actually blurred. And interesting that the internals of the cab of the feature train are blurred. What does that say? It says, have some coffee. That's what that says. Alongside the 2025 timetable for West Coast Main Line South, we are pleased to reveal that the Birmingham to Crewe route will also gain a full modern-day 24-hour timetable based on real operations in 2025. This does not replace the original 2019 version. Instead, it provides a completely different style of action that reflects how the route runs today. Liverpool services now turn back at Birmingham New Street. The Stoke Loop service is represented through an AI shuttle that waits out on Stafford Platform 6, and the much-loved Glass 390s between Crewe and Birmingham now call at Stafford with reduced wait times at Wolverhampton to better reflect the current pattern. This variety continues with broader freight representation, fresh rail tour paths, and a set of empty car moves that ensure there is always something new happening around you. Here's another shot of the 805 showing the internal. And another one from inside showing the PIS and the nicer topped seats and the tables. Very clean. I have to say these trains actually are very clean in reality, which is amazing given how heavily they're used. The Class 805 sits naturally within this updated flow, strengthening the sense of a living modern West Coast Main Line without dominating the timetable. It contributes with a mix of short and long distance workings and regular depot movements to and from Oxley, helping with a wider service pattern feel busy and up to date. West Midlands Railway continue to handle stopping and fast regional runs between Birmingham and Wolverhampton. LNWR's Class 350s manage their established semi-fast pattern to Crewe, and Transport for Wales maintain their cross-border movements in line with present-day behaviour. A number of special workings also appear, including Class 47 tours and a recreation of the 2024 Class 323 farewell tour, each supported by a unique empty stock activity. And of course, you could take the 805 and run it over the northern part of the West Coast Main Line and run it into the wall in Shap. Why not? Derail the thing. And we have a toasty maker. I'm not quite sure why this was important, but it made people really excited on the roadmap stream. And okay, you can get really excited about a toasty maker. But to be honest with you, if that thing's animated, I'm going to be a little bit pissed off because I'd like to see things that you actually look at animated, like diggers. That would be more fun. Across the full 24-hour period, the timetable contains 2,171 services in total, with 510 of them drivable. It makes full use of modern stock where appropriate, with some old attraction retained where it improves the completeness and gameplay value of the timetable. And as with other routes, any layers that affect immersion can be disabled to suit player preference. The aim is simply to provide another fully organised, believable and contemporary timetable for Birmingham to Crewe that stands confidently alongside the West Coast Mainline South 2025 timetable. Well, that's fair enough. They introduced some route hopping. It's good to see us coming into the modern timetables. On the roadmap stream, Matt did say that, they used 2019 timetables because that's when they were busy and they weren't busy during COVID. It's certainly true that they weren't busy during COVID, but I feel the real reason is that it's actually hard to get the working timetables for a current route because the railways don't like people having them. So I suspect that's the real reason. With both our routes now gaining their own modern-day working patterns and the Class 805 tying the network together with its current intercity presence, the West Coast Main Line is about to feel more alive, more connected and more reflective of today's railway than ever before. We're excited for players to get their hands on the new BR Class 805 and its enhanced gameplay inclusions which give West Coast Main Line fans even more to thrive on. Right, that's it for all aboard. Now let's get into Just Trains, the lovers of the past. More details on the 142 Pacer. Before you get really into it, there's not a lot of new detail. Firstly, we wanted to provide a less wordy, more screenshotty update of the Transport for Wales Class 142 add-on coming for the Cardiff City network route as it gets closer to release. So we can see the beast here in its interim Transport for Wales scheme, where they basically plastered a big vinyl sticker on the side of the thing and walked away and said, "That'll do, mate, that'll do." That's the interior of the cab. Doesn't look a lot different to the others. The GSMR radio is new. The sticker up there is new. The TPWS panel up here is new, I think. Looks like it's been just plonked in on top of that. And DRA, I don't think that one had DRA, so that's new as well. Apart from that, it looks pretty much the same, I think. I do like the hand-scrawled notations here. That's kind of funny. Can you see my cursor? Oh, you can. Good. We've provided various updates in this add-on in past roadmaps, and you can jump there. Of course you can. You can just go watch my videos, whichever you like. We have a interior view here with the wording in Welsh, which is good to see. It's legally required in Wales that all signage be in Welsh and English and that Welsh be prevalent, which is kind of cool. Now what's interesting is the Welsh exit sign is pointing that way, but the English exit sign's pointing the other way. That's kind of interesting. But anyway, Just Trains says the Class 142 is arriving in its Transport for Wales livery, featuring LED headlights, 2-leaf bifold doors, updated door open and close operating buttons, sanding equipment and additional key modelling details such as the smashed glass to access emergency door handle, which is not operational, the National Radio Network and GSMR antenna. You can see a more detailed shot of the Transport for Wales logo, the initial one. The timetable is set in 2019 with a service pattern on the Valley lines was quite different compared to how it is now. Instead of trains going from Corryton to Penarth, the trains from Corryton instead went to Radia, a journey much quicker by foot as it's a U-shape, and the Penarth trains instead go to Bargoed and Rhymney instead of Corryton. Well, there you go. That'll be an interesting change when it comes out. It will up things a little bit. Class 142s run most of the Valley line diagrams, but in 2019, Transport for Wales had a couple of Class 37 diagrams with Mark II Fs running services up to Rhymney, which you'll be able to drive to Heath High Level. The timetable will also be including Class 802s, 150s, 165s and HST Castle sets for Great Western Railway traffic, 170s and a once-a-day Class 220 for cross-country, if it runs and isn't cancelled. See here a lineup of various things with a sort of 150 on the left, I think, a pacer, another pacer in another livery which doesn't have the big sticker on it yet, and a 153. For the longer distance transport for rail services, you will have Class 150s in their XATW guise. 150 is a bit of a mainstay. Be sharing more details shortly about when you can expect to pick up this add-on, so be sure to follow our socials. West Coast Main Line Crew Preston from Just Trains. Just Trains teams have also been continuing with their development for the announced West Coast Main Line Crew Preston add-on. This one we can see Crew South Junction and a Class 47 with really nice weathering. This is what trains look like in reality. They are grubby. Good to see the grubby. Good to see from when I looked at this a long time ago. They've also updated this safety vest, potentially from my whinging, because it had a modern one. As a reminder, this route will explore a busy section of the northwest England set in 1980s, including the historic railway town of Crewe, as well as a multitude of branches which allow you to explore a number of lesser-known areas such as the Deepdale branch north of Preston. You'll be driving the Class 86/4 on high-speed passenger and freight runs between Preston and Crewe, as well as updated and improved Class 20/0 and 47/3 locomotives. We can see here the Slope Goods Junction. We're continuing to develop the upcoming West Coast Main Line Crewe to Preston route, and we wanted to provide a new selection of work-in-progress screenshots illustrating front-end variations of the Class 47/3, along with an image of the updated cab featuring the vital slow-speed control for MGR coal operations. Does that mean we're going to be coal loading? I hope so. That would be good. Another loading thing. We haven't had a loading thing for quite a while. You can see the cab with its... yeah, there's a few changes in there. Nothing really dramatic, but there's a few extra bits and pieces here and there. So, yeah, cool stuff. Still got a hot plate, of course. Along with the Class 47/3, we are also proud to display some images of the route itself, including Winsford Station, Salup Goods Junction Signal Box, Crewe Gresty Lane, Fiddler's Ferry Power Station, Warrington, Wigan Springs Branch, TMD, and Newton Lee Willows Station. Well, there you go. Big power station, spewing the Gretas. Well, actually, it's steam, but anyway, we won't let that get in the way of a good story, will we? This is Newton Lee Willows. Must be quite a dismal place in that car park, really, with those giant walls. But the building looks nice. Looks a little Harry Potterish. Red phone box is a nice touch. Spring Branch Maintenance Depot. The texture on here looks a little more TSC and a little less TSW, but I get it. Asbestos is probably hard. Another shot of a station. We'll continue to share more news as they share progress updates. So there you go. Cargo Line Volume 5 Nuclear from Skyhook Games, announced back in June this year. Leaked long before that. The Skyhook Games team have been working hard on the next addition to the popular Cargo Line series. I might point out the Cargo Line team is Adam. That's it. Adam. And yes, I'm sure he does work hard. Let's hear a quick summary of the pack and history for this add-on. We'll be introducing the FNA D Flask Carrier Wagons and their perfect partner, the Type 1 Class 20/3 diesel locomotive in an unbranded Oxford blue livery. This pack represents where during 1994 direct rail services had the sole purpose of taking over railways handling of nuclear material from British Rail, eventually operated a fleet of 21 examples of the English Electric Type 1s, being sufficiently upgraded with long-range fuel tanks, group standard headlight clusters, high-impact windscreens and a complete cab rebuild before out-shopping them in iconic Oxford blue livery with yellow ends and red buffer beams. In the 2010s, it was identified that replacements were required. The new batch featured several major updates, including exposed framing, different bogies, and the ability to carry a wider range of flask designs. Despite the reduction in nuclear power plants in the UK since the millennium, the FNADs can still be seen in use across much of the UK. See here the unbranded Class 20. Let me know in the comments if you think branding is important. So it looks like a direct rail services. It looks the part, but it doesn't have the branding. It's interesting because the branding is available in the game, but clearly probably only to Dovetail. And Skyhook perhaps do not have the resources to accommodate any fees. This is quite possible. It does look really nicely weathered, although it's looked after, so good to see that. I've driven a Class 20, so I look forward to what it's like. Progress is coming along very well from those couple of screenshots, and just next week we'll be back with a full announced article for Cargo Line Volume 5, exploring all the details about the pack you could want to discover ahead of its release and wider ranges of new images. So this is a shot from inside the cab with the GSMR radio, TPWS, modern features. It's interesting, the panic button. Is that an emergency stop, or does it call people and say, hey, my nuclear waste is being stolen by someone? Possible. Next up, we have the BR Class 90 from Alan Thompson Simulation. We're coming back with new screenshots for the Class 90 Freight Pack. Now this looks like a model that's come from something that's less featured than TSW. It's just a bit bland. It just, people are really excited because it's a new freight engine, but it's just a bit bland. I think it needs some work, really, to bring it up to TSW standards. Gameplay development has been led by ATS, with Simiograph work progressing in close collaboration with the excellent team at A&D Games. We're pleased to report that the light of the end of the tunnel is very bright. Gameplay is nearing completion. It is weathered at least, but it just looks, I don't know. Compare it to the wagon behind it, for example. The wagon behind it has got more detail. It's interesting that it's a Smiggers too. So it's a German wagon being hauled by a Class 90 in Britain. I assume that actually does happen. They probably come through the tunnel. But it just, I don't know, just something about it. It just looks train sim classic-y, kind of. I don't know, maybe I'm being unkind. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Am I being unkind? Feels like I'm being unkind. Livery creation has been handled by Imbu, who have delivered a diverse and high-quality set of liveries that complement the pack's flexible service mode. Players will be able to choose the freight run that suits them best. And you'll notice they're all unbranded. They did say in the roadmap stream that licensing for Freightliner is coming along, and they are expecting to have it. But they didn't have the images approved in time to show them. What generally happens with licensing of brand control is the content has to be approved by the people who own the brand. So I find that to be fairly believable that could happen, but it's not the best organizing, I guess, that we don't have branded versions on display right now. So hopefully we do get the Freightliner branding, because I think on their own, they look... Maybe that's why it looks bland to me. It hasn't got the branding at all. Like, there's no branding at all. I think I'd rather a pretend branding like Freightliner or something. That would be better. But anyway. Images displayed in this article may depict content still in development. The licensed brands may not have been approved by the respective owner, and some artwork may still be pending approval. Yep. With a rich feature set and deeply authentic driving experience powered mostly by sarcasm, we're confident the community will appreciate the attention to detail and realism this pack delivers. Thank you from the ATS team, and it's great to hear more details. Well, they'll come along. Next up, we have London Overground Mildmay Line Richmond Extension from Incredible Trains. We also have a short update from Johannes at Incredible Trains, creator of the London Overground Mildmay Line, which released back in March, about his current project to extend the route to Richmond and the potential for further improvements. Progress has been steady, but I'm looking to also bring the route up to the current TSW6 standard, adding announcements, train faults and temporary speed restrictions, but waiting to confirm the option to use real announcements first. So he is hoping to use real announcements, but licensing pending and all that sort of thing. He will go with the new announcement system. Personally, I'd actually prefer him to go the new announcement system from a streaming perspective. I don't know how active TFL are at pursuing copyright on videos for announcements. Would be interesting. He also noted looking at key fixes from the original release alongside this update to support performance and improve the experience, but we'll keep you informed of what changes will come once Johannes has been able to complete his work on the project. There we go, we can see some skulls rowing in the river. It's interesting that they're in line with the island. Would have thought they'd be either side of it, but that's okay. Maybe they turn around there and they sit in the lee of the island for protection. Who knows? We're excited to share more, and we know many of you are eager to get your hands on these updates. So we'll keep you informed as Johannes continues to improve and bring new features to the routes. It is just one person, so remember that. And we've got a new partner. We do, but we're not telling you anything about what they're doing, so I don't care, and that's where I'm going to end the roadmap read. Alrighty. Enjoy yourselves. Oh, all right, I'll be nice. It's Firefly Simulations, and it's a whole bunch of modders getting together with Forks, Mescott, Charlie, Jetwash, and Spratty. So they have done a heap of good mods for Train Sim World. Heaps. And some of them have done mods for the other things as well. Be interesting to see what they can do, bringing it in. Modding is challenging, but it's probably easier than creation. So we'll see how they go. I think they'll have the right attitude, I think, for bringing out something cool. Let's see if they have the resources to pull it off. That would be what sets them apart. We won't get into the community bits of the roadmap because I have noticed that this is precisely where people stop watching the video and they go, nah, don't care, so I'm not going to bother recording them anymore. Alrighty, have fun, folks. Enjoy yourselves. If there's anything that interests you or you feel you need to let me know something, chuck it in the comments down below and we can have a chat. Alrighty, have fun, folks. See you later. And as always, I read these articles to improve the accessibility of the information for those who can't or won't go and read it for themselves, and to chuck in my own annoying bits. Alrighty, bye-bye.
We played a game.